Welcome in to Donzilla's Stand-Up Showcase. Funny Bone Clash of the Comics winner, Omaha and Des Moines, Ed Burroughs.
I don't do well with expectations. Like, I feel like I let you all down. You guys came to see stand-up comedy. Oh, what are you getting offended about? I'm the one in the wheelchair. All right. I made it work for me, though. Special ed, driver's ed, sex ed. I'm as bad as y'all want to be. All right, and shorten that up, we get Ed, right? I'll make it work, you know. I don't do Eddie. I don't like Eddie. Eddie's a little too familiar, right? It's a little too intimate. If you're calling me Eddie, I feel like I need to have been inside of you. All right, that's just because you can't moan Ed. Try it, right? You're already done, right? You know, whatever. I made it all work, though. Oh man, I'm still a stay-at-home son. It's good work if you can get it. All right, benefits are pretty decent. I live in a tiny little town. Like this town, it's not even a town. It's like an apartment building splattered in a cornfield. Like someone was carrying apartment buildings to somewhere like that mattered, and dropped one. Aw, Liscum. Yep, no one knows what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for a decade, all over the country. One person, one time, was like, I think I saw the exit. No, he didn't. Not even near an interstate. It's an hour drive for bread. Right? We got 3 businesses. We got a bar, a bank, and a repo company. So you can get a loan, you can blow it at the bar, and you can get your stuff repoed. Right? All within a town of 200 people, right at the intersection of BFE and You Got a Purty Mouth. Where the men are men and the sheep are scared. Now, when I first moved to this town, I hated it because I was still a real boy. I could run, jump, climb, right? I like to skateboard and ride bikes. In this town, it's perfectly flat, it's perfectly straight. There's not a hill, a step, a ledge, a curve, nothing. And when you like to skateboard and ride bikes, well, that's lame. But then I got in the wheelchair. Well, half as tall, twice as wide, and curbs make my boobies bounce. Right? This place is heaven. Right? There's not a stair, a hill, a lip, a lid, nothing, right? I mean, hills are fun half the time, right? Like, that's why it's all downhill from here, you know, over the hill, right? But like, curbs are horrible all the time, right? Explain, why do we have curbs? Can anyone explain curbs to me? No one knows why we have curbs, but they're everywhere. Right? Ladies, how many heels have you busted coming off a curb? Right, guys, how many times have you slammed it, right, raising your hand, right, you're like, oh, me too, like, no, because, like, one guy tried to explain curbs to me. He was like, well, it's so the water has somewhere to flow. This is dumb. Put the sidewalk at an angle, right, it doesn't flow uphill, right, it's the first rule of plumbing, you know what I mean, like, one guy, he's like, well, it's parking, so the cars know where to park. This is dumber. Paint a line. Put up a sign, right? This isn't new technology. Parking lots have been doing it for decades. Right? One smart aleck, he was like, well, it's so the hookers know where to stay. If we got poles and lines, these ladies are gonna be right at home. Right. And stairs are just a bunch of stairs, there's curbs stacked up on top of each other. What's this all about? Right? Stairs are like my arch enemy, all right? Like if I was a superhero, I'd always be battling the Stairmaster. Right? I have been jock-blocked by steps more than any other reason. That is my deal-breaker question. Bigger, small, short, or tall, I'll try it all. Ladies, how many stairs do you have? All right, I'm Ed Burroughs. Thank you, guys. You have a good night.
Her comedy speaks for itself, period. She doesn't have much experience doing stand-up, but she's funny, period. Bridgette Davis.
There was one time I called a customer service phone line, and he's like, thank you for calling May I please confirm your first name before I continue? Sorry, it's just natural accent you have to go to. So I was like, my name is Bridget. Thank you, Cricket. Please hold one moment while I review your information. Cricket, Bridget, Cricket, Bridget. I'm like, thanks, Chad. So one thing about me is I hate bugs. Like bugs, seriously, the worst. Flies, yeah, I hear some giggles. Because flies, why do you land on the same spot 2 times? At least 2 times. Like I whack you, and then you land there again. Like it's just so irritating to me. And then you have the whole world to land. But you land on my calf or my shoulder or just, I don't understand it. Like June bugs. June bugs are actually probably the worst. They're like your drunk friends. They just, and you're like, this way, this away from the door. They're lit, and it's so hard when they hit the walls and stuff. Are you okay? That's a bug. No, I don't like bugs. That's gross. And everybody says, bugs are more scared of you than you are of bugs. Bull crap. Yeah, you know anxiety, everything. Like, they are on a mission to crawl inside of my body and eat their way out. I don't care. Fly, ant, mosquito, I don't care. I hope you guys had a good night.
From Iowa City, she's performed at the Floodwater Comedy Festival for 2023 and several local showcases. Cassandra Johnson.
Oh boy, I am. Who else here is clumsy? We're all clumsy, right? Yeah, cheers. Cheers. Like, this white shirt is making me very nervous. I'm just waiting for, I don't know where spaghetti would come from, but hey, it's very real possibility. I'm a very clumsy person. Good story for this. So, y'all heard of the store called Claire's, right? You've heard of Claire's? Anybody got their ears pierced at Claire's before? Yeah, a bunch of people? Okay. I'm banned from Claire's. Not for the same reason some of the other comedians are, but banned from Claire's, I am. I went into Claire's for prom. I went to go get a hairpiece, right? And for those of you who, I don't know who wouldn't have never been to Claire's, but okay. It's a store for small girls. It's usually got little accessories in it, right? So I go in. Again, it's prom. I am also 100 pounds heavier, so keep that in mind at that time. And the aisles for Claire's are significantly smaller than most stores. Because again, for young girls. So I go traipsing in there, pick out what I want. I'm like, okay, I see what I want. I go to reach for it, and I hear something drop to the floor. Oh, yeah. And of course, I grew up in Iowa, as many of the rest of us did. My Midwest nice, I can't leave that sit there. I have to pick it up. Midwest nice, we have to pick it up. Am I right? Yes. So, I go down to pick it up. I hear everything behind me crash to the floor. So then, knee-jerk reaction, I hear everything fall to the floor. Oh no, I better pick it up. I go to the other side. You bet, you're already ahead of the game. Next side, all on the ground. I'm just running through this Claire's like Cass Kong, just knocking over aisles and small children, and there's crying, calling for mothers. Until finally, the lady at the front desk says, ma'am, can you please go step outside? You can pick out whatever you want from outside behind the glass. Like a donut case. I feel like you're more comfortable with that transaction anyway, clearly. I'm single. I treat dating like multiple choice, okay? Instead of thinking about what the right choice might be, doing some like deductive reasoning, looking at all of the answers, I just panic and pick D. Every time. Every time. That's my cute way of saying I'm single and I didn't pass my MCATs. Anyway, guys, I think I got the light, but thank you.
On stage, he's known for his awkwardly crass style. Off stage, he likes to play with balls. He's a juggler. And other skill toys. Zach Metzler.
You know what I think about abortion? I think it's... What do you guys think? I'm like a, flat Stanley. I'm like flimsy as paper on this. I just like whatever you guys want, I'll say what I want, You guys, those protesters? You always see them at the clinics. They're like outside and they're really angry with the signs. They're like, stop killing the babies or whatever they're saying. You guys notice that like when it starts raining, they're just gone? They just disappear. They're the flimsy ones. They just peace out, dude. They're just like, I gotta save all the babies, but I can't get my shirt wet right now. It's not a good thing. So they just leave. I'm kind of a troll at heart, I just like messing with people. What I really want to do is one of these times I want to go to one of these protests, just like drive up and I just want to like do an abortion in front of them, Like, just as a goof, I'm not like, it would be a real abortion, but it'd be like a joke or something. I don't know. I grew up in a church. Shocker, I know. No, I didn't worship God. I worshiped my sister because she was older than me. That's all it takes when you're a kid. You're just like, she's 4 years older than me. I'm like, word, I'm just going to do whatever you do. Let's go. And she would just dare me to do stuff. So we're at communion. And, it's like the wine or grape juice if your church sucks and the bread. And you're supposed to take like a dainty little like piece of bread and like dip it in, and there's this whole ceremonial thing or whatever. Well, she was like, I dare you to grab a handful. I was like, bet, no problem. Except I didn't say bet, no problem, because this was like 1998. That wasn't, they didn't invent that yet. But I wish I could see that now, like from an adult perspective, you understand? Like, that must have been insane, because I was like this small child, and I just reached in like a demon, and I grabbed the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit all in one go. I just ripped it out, and I just shoved it into my mouth, dude. And then I chewed bread for an hour. That's about how long that takes. Yeah, man. Sometimes I order from DoorDash. I'm trying not to anymore because I'm poor, but sometimes I get sad, Anyone else get sad out there? You're just like, yeah. You're just like, bring me some food for 5 times the price, and that's going to fix things somehow. Well, they have beverage recommendations. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but you can order from like a nice sit-in Italian restaurant, and they're like, you could get beer from Walgreens. I'm like, sure, why not? I have nothing better going on. Let's just binge drink from Walgreens beer. Why not? They had Busch Light, they had Bud Light, and then the third recommendation they made as a beverage choice was Walgreens brand cold and flu medicine. It's not a beverage, man. That's not... If you go to someone's house and you're like, dude, I'm thirsty, what do you got? And he's like, well, I have cold medicine. You should leave. You should leave that house. That's not a good house, dude. The house is probably fine. That's not a good person, though. You shouldn't hang out. But I felt really bad about this because I was like, DoorDash is one of these big tech companies. They have all this data, and they make these great algorithms to serve up like personalized recommendations just to you. So DoorDash found out who I am deep inside. And their best advice was, you should just do drugs, man. Just drink cold medicine recreationally. I don't know what else to tell you. I like walking my dog, and no, I don't, but I do. And one time I saw this guy coming the other direction with his dog, and our dogs had a moment, if you know what I mean. So he felt like he had to make conversation, and he was like, yeah, she's making some good contact. That's some good contact right there. Dude, our dogs were like getting really acquainted, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we're watching it happen. Like, what are you doing, man? But that guy has an origin story. You don't just wake up one day and you're just like, good contact, let's get the day started. Like, so my thought, this is his origin story from my perspective, is he's on all fours and his wife's behind him, giving him good contact. I think we all know what I'm talking about here, right? She's like salting the rim like a margarita. Just like that. That's how you salt a margarita rim. Then she just hits him with the lime, and he's like, that's some good contact right there. All right, I'm Zach Metzler. Have a good night.
Brian is your favorite brain injury Quad Cities comedian. He got his start January 2022. Comedy is a part of therapy for Brian, who has mental illnesses such as brain injury, MPD, bipolar, PTSD, and autism. Here is Brian Lee Farrell.
I have multiple personality disorder. So despite what your eyes tell you, there's actually 16 of us up here. Yeah, and one of us thought it was a great idea to get a brain injury, so yeah, hopefully remember what the hell we're talking about up here. But don't feel sorry for me. I tried to make the best out of it. I mean, think about it. I am the only comedian in the United States that can headline, host, and open for himself. Thank you. I'm not playing. You get brand new friends. Yeah, I even got a new wife out of the deal. And a handicap placard. That's not bad. I don't tell a lot of brain injury jokes, though, because apparently they're offensive. I came out of a show here one night, and some elderly lady rolled up to me and says, hey, I thought you were rude and disrespectful to people with a brain injury. I just calmly looked at her and I said, ma'am, I don't think you look like you need that oxygen machine. So I shut it off. Thank you. I'm Brian Farrell. Have a good night.
Comedian that stars in all-male dating app users' nightmares, firm advocate of crab rangoon and orange chicken, Jane Yan.
A little introduction about me. My name is Jane, and I want to be the T Swift of stand-up comedy. Yeah, thank you, because we both date men and use them as our materials. Yeah, shout out to my exes. Let's start from him, shall we? So when we just broke up, he became my stalker. Oh, I was so scared. I used to go on street walking my dog like an undercover T Swift. Hats, sunglasses, mask. Dumbest idea ever. I still have the same dog. My friend has been helping me to move on. A lot of the times, I feel like a rehomed Chihuahua. Not the cute kind. The one have like one eyeball and 3 legs. Just shivering on the couch. Whenever a man approach me, I just go, "Roo." The best part is, my friend would apologize on my behalf. Oh, I'm so sorry. She's a little sensitive. Her old owner was abusive. I wasn't very happy back into the dating scene. I went on a couple dates. One dude ate 6 pieces of pizza. I ate 2 pieces. He asked me to split the bill with him. Are you looking for a girlfriend or a EBT card? I'm fresh off the boat, not a yacht. All right. Thank you guys. My name is Jane.
This next comedian is a recent graduate from the University of Iowa, where he hosted the student comedy showcase, Secret Stand-Up, Logan Pratt.
So I'm always out at bars, specifically this bar, but I don't really have like a bar vibe. My vibe is not so much shots as it is, teacher, I think you forgot to assign us homework again. Like, like I don't belong here. I do not look like I belong here. I do not look like I should be drinking Miller Lights and dancing in the club. I look like I should be eating hard-boiled eggs and watching MSNBC. Like, which is what I'll be doing immediately after I leave here tonight. So don't clap. It's a sad life. It's a sad life that I live. I'm a little on the younger side. I'm 22 years old. At least that's what it says on my ID from Texas. But I'm 22, which means I'm part of what they call Generation Z, or as my grandfather calls it, and gaybos. But Gen Z, we are kind of like a soft generation, you know what I mean? Like every other generation had like this era-defining moment about them. You know, like the silent generation had World War II, the boomers had Vietnam, millennials had MTV. Like we all had things that we that we went through. But I don't think that Gen Z is ready for like our era-defining moment. And I know that because of how many young people I know who can't fall asleep unless they're listening to an ASMR video. You know what I mean? Like we've been there World War III in like the Ukrainian wilderness or whatever, with a little AirPod Pros in, listening to a woman whisper into a microphone like, hey, I know war can be tough, but you're being such a brave little boy about it. You're so brave. And I fall right asleep. I'd be like, hell yeah, like, who needs PTSD when you have ASMR, am I right? Okay. So I'm getting really into musical theater as a style of music, which you could tell about me the moment I walked up here. But I like musical theater, and I think I like musical theater songs because I like my songs to have a very literal meaning to them. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have to think about the fact like the Hotel California is like a metaphor for drug overdose in the 1980s or whatever. I just want some tenor twink to come on stage and be like, I'm sad, and I can be like, that guy's sad. Like, it's very clear. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone knows what we're talking about. The other day I was walking down the street, and this car pulled up next to me, and the guy rolled down his window, and he was like, hey, fatso, you want a donut? And I was like, aw, man, come on, dude. You don't gotta be like that. You don't gotta be a jerk. You can just say Grubhub for Logan. Like, we don't gotta, you know. Why are we going through this whole rigmarole again? Donut, mouth, now. Okay, bye.
Born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, he has been seen at comedy clubs across the country and even the Las Vegas Strip. DJ ONEWAY.
Does anybody remember a game called Oregon Trail? Yeah, that's the game that made you violent. First off, I didn't know this. Oregon Trail, it started off on like floppy disk, right? You can get it on your phone now. They've changed it a little bit, right? There's no longer Indians, they're Native Americans, but you can still shoot them, it's fine. Like, that was the point of the game. You loaded it up and they were like, welcome to the Oregon Trail. You can buy food, you can buy a wagon, or you can buy guns, give me guns. What about a wagon? Make it out of guns, load it, let's bullets, let's go. You get 2 miles outside of town and you shoot everything, right? You know you can only carry back 100 pounds of buffalo meat. You shoot 100 anyway. It doesn't matter. They're not going anywhere. And you get going, right? You get to that first Native American trading post. You rob that shit, because who cares? And you keep going, right? And then what happens? Grandma gets dysentery. And you got to make a choice. Are you going to use up all of your hard-earned supplies so that grandma can live to here? Or are you just gonna leave grandma to die here? What's it gonna be, 8-year-old you? I wanna know who got here and was like, this is good. Who got to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, stopped and was like, surely it's not getting better than this. And they're like, Jim, it flooded twice in the last 20 years. Those were 500 and 100-year floods. Don't worry about it. You're like, the math really doesn't add up. And he's like, don't worry about it. Quakers, get your oats. Let's go. Oh, man. But if you are in your 30s now, it was like this. You were 11 years old. You were in the house of the parents that don't pay attention to you. And in the kitchen cabinet, there is a case of Surge soda. Right? That was your first hard drug if you grew up in the 90s. That was it. Even the advertisement was insane. They were like, soda has this much sugar. Sports drinks, you might as well drink water. But Surge has this much sugar! And that was the ad. And they sold it to us. And we loved it. We took it. We drank all of it. Then we went to class and they were like, why does he not pay attention? We should give him Adderall. Like, I do think one of the things they should bring back, I don't know if you guys remember like when you were growing up and you would play sports and they would have the halftime snack time. Right, yeah. YMCA, they would bring you like the Capri Sun or whatever. I think they should bring that back and do it in the pros, right? How great would it be LeBron James to see him center court with an orange slice in his mouth like, right? Patrick Mahomes, they're down 3. He's got to go 80 yards. He's standing on the 50-yard line. He pops a gusher and his head, it turns into a fruit. He can't get the helmet on. Anyway, guys, that's my time. I am DJ ONEWAY.